What happens when two teenage brothers, dressed in beat-up sneakers and plain tees, roll up to a futuristic luxury car dealership on electric bikes, only to be laughed out the door by a smug salesman who thinks they don't belong? Humiliated but unbroken, they confide in their father, a mysterious man played by Keanu Reeves, who's about to turn the tables in a way no one sees coming. Buckle up for a wild ride of judgment, kindness, and jaw-dropping justice that'll leave you questioning who really holds the power. Stick around to the end for a twist you won't predict, and drop your thoughts in the comments. How would you handle being judged like that? Rate this story from 1 to 10, and let us know where you're watching from. Ethan and Milo pedaled up to the Lux Drive dealership on their electric bikes, tires humming softly as they stopped. Ethan, 16, hopped off first, his brown hair messy from the ride. Milo, 14, followed, his freckled face bright with excitement. Both wore combat shorts, plain white tees, and scuffed sneakers. No fancy labels, just kids with big dreams. They'd spent weeks online, drooling over the Nova Hyperion, a midnight blue beast with a price tag over $900,000. Today they'd see it in person. The glass doors slid open with a quiet whoosh. Inside, the air buzzed with wealth. Salespeople in sharp suits, customers with designer bags, and cars that gleamed like trophies. Ethan nudged Milo, nodding toward the Hyperion parked dead center. Its curves screamed speed, its paint swallowing the light. "That's it," Milo whispered, eyes wide. They stepped closer, hands in pockets, not daring to touch. A voice sliced through the hum. "Can I help you?" Victor, a salesman in a navy suit, strode over, his polished shoes clicking. His gelled hair and smug grin said he belonged here. They didn't. He scanned their clothes, his lip curling. "You lost or something?" Ethan squared his shoulders. "We just had a question about the Hyperion. Does it really start at $900,000? Victor snorted, adjusting his cufflinks. "Starts there, yeah. But I think you're in the wrong place, kids. Maybe try the bike shop down the street." Laughter rippled from a couple at a nearby desk. A junior salesman smirked, leaning against a counter. Milo's face fell, his sneakers scuffing the floor. Ethan clenched his jaw but kept his tone polite. "We were just curious. What's it got under the hood?" Victor crossed his arms. "Look, I don't have time for this. That car's for serious buyers, not window shoppers. Why don't you head out?" The couple chuckled again, shaking their heads. A woman in a pearl necklace whispered something to her husband, smirking. Ethan's ears burned, but he nodded. "Sorry to bother you." He grabbed Milo's arm, steering him toward the exit. The doors whooshed shut behind them, cutting off the laughter. They grabbed their bikes, heads low. Milo kicked a pebble. "Why do you have to be such a jerk? We didn't do anything." Ethan shrugged, forcing a smile. "Some people just suck. Let's go." They started pedaling, the dealership shrinking behind them. That could have been it, just another day of getting dismissed. But someone had watched the whole thing. Lila, a saleswoman in a cream blouse, stepped out from behind a desk. Her dark hair was tied back, her face warm but sharp. She'd seen Victor's act before, and it bugged her every time. "Hey, wait up," she called, jogging to catch them. The boys slowed, glancing at each other. "You got a minute?" she asked. Ethan hesitated. Sure." They walked their bikes back, unsure what she wanted. Leela smiled, nodding toward the Hyperion. "I heard you asking about that one. It's a beauty, right? Want to know what makes it tick?" "Huh?" Milo's eyes lit up. "Yeah, like..." She crouched a bit, meeting them at eye level. Twin-turbo V12, 800 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. The chassis is carbon fiber, light but tough. It's built for speed and precision. Ethan tilted his head. "What about the tech inside, like the dashboard?" "Fully digital," Lila said. "Holographic displays, voice-activated controls, even self-ejecting seats. It's like driving the future." She pulled 2 brochures from her pocket, handing them over. "Here, specs, features, all of it. Take a look." Milo flipped through his, grinning. "This is awesome, thanks." "Want to sit in it?" she asked. Ethan blinked. "For real?" Lila nodded. "Yeah, just be careful." She waved them back inside, ignoring Victor's glare from across the room. The boys took turns sliding into the driver's seat, hands hovering over the wheel, soaking it in. No selfies, no messing around, just quiet awe. When they climbed out, Lila handed them her card. "Name's Lila. Call me if you've got more questions. You're welcome here anytime." "Thanks," Ethan said, tucking the card away. Milo nodded, a shy smile breaking through. They hopped on their bikes and rode off, heads a little higher. Victor muttered to a coworker, "She's wasting her time." Lila heard but didn't flinch. Something about those kids stuck with her. Their questions, their vibe. They weren't like the usual rich brats who strutted in. They were different. Back at the dealership, the day rolled on. Victor closed a sale with the smirking couple, pocketing a fat commission. The junior salesman gossiped about the bike kids over coffee. The manager, Elena, watched from her glass-walled office, scrolling through security footage on her tablet. She'd caught the tail end of Victor's stunt but hadn't stepped in, not yet. Ethan and Milo didn't talk much on the ride home. The sting of Victor's words lingered, mixing with Lila's kindness. They didn't know it then, but their day wasn't over, not by a long shot. At home, their dad, Keanu Reeves, waited. He didn't know what had happened yet, but he'd listen, and when he did, things would change. The brothers pedaled faster, the coastal wind in their faces. They'd wanted to see a car, maybe dream a little. Instead, they'd gotten a lesson in how people judge and how some don't. Soon they'd give the dealership a lesson of their own, one Victor, Elena, and everyone else wouldn't forget. Ethan and Milo rode their bikes in silence, the hum of the motors swallowed by the coastal wind. The sting of Victor's words clung to them like damp clothes after a rainstorm. Ethan stared ahead, his knuckles tight on the handlebars. Milo kept his head down, pedaling slower, his freckled cheeks flushed, not from the ride, but from the embarrassment that wouldn't shake loose. They'd just wanted to see the Hyperion, to feel close to something amazing. Instead, they'd been laughed at, brushed off like dirt on Victor's shiny shoes. Back at Lux Drive, Victor strutted to the coffee machine, smirking to a coworker. Those kids thought they could roll in here on bikes and buy a $900,000 car? Hilarious! The junior salesman chuckled, sipping his latte. Yeah, they looked like they couldn't afford the tires. Across the room, Lila clenched her jaw, but said nothing. She flipped through a sales report, her mind still on Ethan and Milo. Their questions replayed in her head, smart, real questions, not the usual flexing from rich clients. She'd seen something in them, something Victor was too smug to notice. Ethan turned down a quiet street, glancing at Milo. "You okay?" Milo shrugged, his voice small. "Why do you have to act like that? We weren't hurting anybody." Ethan sighed. "Some people think clothes tell them everything. He's a jerk, that's all." Milo kicked at his pedals. "Still sucks. I felt so stupid standing there." Ethan's chest tightened. He hated seeing Milo like that. His little brother. The kid who'd spent hours sketching cars in notebooks, now shrunk by some guy's ego. "You're not stupid," Ethan said firmly. "He is." They pulled up to their house, a sleek place tucked against a hillside. No gates, no flash, just home. They dropped their bikes by the garage and shuffled inside, sneakers scuffing the floor. The living room was quiet, the late afternoon light spilling through big windows. Ethan tossed his backpack on the couch. Milo flopped next to it, staring at the ceiling. "I don't even want to think about cars anymore," Milo muttered. Ethan sat beside him, pulling out Lila's card. Not everyone there was a jerk. That lady, Lila, she was cool. Milo turned his head. Yeah, she didn't laugh. She actually cared. Ethan nodded, flipping the card between his fingers. She treated us like people, not trash. That's something. Milo sat up a little, his voice softer. "Think she meant it? About us coming back?" Ethan looked at him, serious. "Yeah, I do." For a second, Milo's eyes brightened, a tiny spark cutting through the gloom. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep the day from feeling like a total loss. Meanwhile, at the dealership, the mood shifted. Elena, the manager, stepped out of her office, tablet in hand. She'd reviewed the security footage. Victor's sneer, the boy's awkward exit, Lila's quiet intervention, her lips pressed into a thin line. She didn't like drama, but she didn't like bullies either. Victor caught her eye and flashed a grin. Closed that couple from earlier, big sale. Elena nodded coolly. "Good, keep it professional next time." Victor's grin faltered, but he shrugged it off, turning back to his coffee. Lila walked over to Elena, her tone low. Those boys didn't deserve that, they were just curious. Elena tapped her tablet. I saw. Victor's got an attitude problem. You did the right thing stepping in. Leela hesitated, then added, they weren't like the usual kids who come in here. They listened, asked real questions. Elena raised an eyebrow. Noted. Let's see if they come back. Leela nodded, but deep down she hoped they would. He'd felt it. A connection like they reminded her of herself years ago, underestimated and overlooked. Back home, Ethan and Milo heard the front door click open. Their dad, Keanu, stepped in, his dark jacket slung over one shoulder. He moved like he always did, calm, steady, like nothing could rattle him. His hair was a little messy, his eyes sharp but kind. Hey guys, he said, dropping his keys on the counter. How was your day? The brothers exchanged a look. Ethan shrugged. Fine. Milo stared at his hands. Keanu paused, reading the room. He sat across from them, leaning forward. What's up? Milo spoke first, voice shaky. We went to this car place downtown, Lux Drive. Wanted to see the Hyperion. Keanu nodded, listening. Ethan picked up the story. This salesman guy, Victor, he acted like we were nobodies. Told us to get out, said we didn't belong. People laughed. Milo's shoulders slumped. Sucked, Dad. Like really sucked. Keanu's face didn't change, but his eyes narrowed just a fraction. What else happened? He asked, voice low. Ethan pulled out the brochures. This lady, Lila, came over after. She was nice, showed us the car, let us sit in it, gave us these. He handed them over. Keanu flipped through one, his thumb brushing the paper. She treat you right? Milo nodded. Yeah, she didn't care what we looked like. Keanu leaned back, setting the brochure down. Good. And the other guy, Victor, what'd he say exactly? Ethan recounted it word for word, said we should try the bike shop, laughed like it was a big joke. Milo added, he made me feel like I was nothing. The room went quiet, the weight of it settling in. Keanu didn't yell, didn't pace. He just looked at them, really looked, and that was enough to make them feel heard. Thanks for telling me, he said finally, his voice steady but heavy. Ethan swallowed. You mad? Keanu shook his head. Not at you, never at you. Milo bit his lip. Why do people do that, Dad? Judge you like that? Keanu's gaze softened. Because they're lazy. They see what's easy, not what's true. Says more about them than you. Milo nodded slowly, chewing on that. Ethan felt a knot loosen in his chest. It wasn't fixed, not yet, but it was something. Keanu stood, grabbing his jacket. Get some rest, okay? We'll figure this out. He headed upstairs, leaving the boys on the couch. Milo glanced at Ethan. Think he'll do something? Ethan smirked. You know Dad, he doesn't just sit there. They didn't know what was coming, but they felt it. A shift. A promise. Tomorrow would be different. Ethan and Milo sat on the couch, the brochures still spread out between them. The house was quiet now, the hum of the day fading into the walls. Upstairs, Keanu's footsteps echoed faintly as he moved to his study. Ethan leaned back, staring at the ceiling. He didn't even flinch when we told him, he said, voice low. Milo hugged his knees, his freckles standing out against his pale face. Yeah, but you saw his eyes. He's thinking something. Ethan nodded. Their dad never shouted, never stormed around. But when he got quiet like that, it meant wheels were turning. In his study, Keanu shut the door and sank into a leather chair. The room smelled of wood and old books, a calm space where he figured things out. He set the Hyperion brochure on his desk, staring at it. His boys had been humiliated, not for mouthing off or acting up, but for being themselves. Ethan's steady voice, Milo's shaky one, they'd stuck in his head. He rubbed his jaw, picturing Victor's smirk, the laughter from strangers. It wasn't just anger bubbling up, it was something deeper, something protective. He picked up his phone and dialed. Hey, it's me, he said when the line clicked. A voice on the other end, smooth, professional, replied, Keanu, what's up? He leaned forward, elbows on the desk. I need 2 cars delivered tomorrow. The Boat Tail and the Swept Tail, no delays. The man paused. The Rolls-Royce Boat Tail and Swept Tail? That's over $40 million combined. You sure? Keanu's tone didn't waver. I'm sure. Have the drivers park them outside Lux Drive by 8 a.m. I want it exact. Another pause, then, got it. Anything else? Keanu's voice dropped. Make it quiet. No fanfare. Just get them there. He hung up, setting the phone down with a soft clack. The Boat Tail and Swept Tail weren't just cars, they were statements. The Boat Tail, with its sleek black curves and silver trim, cost $28 million alone. The Swept Tail, a deep blue masterpiece with rose gold accents, clocked in at $13 million. Hand-built, one of a kind, the kind of machines that turned heads without trying. Keanu didn't care about the price, he cared about what they'd mean tomorrow. Parked outside that dealership. Downstairs, Milo grabbed a glass of water, his hands still shaky. "Dad's up there planning something, huh?" Ethan smirked, tossing a pillow at him. "You think? He doesn't mess around when it's us." Milo caught the pillow, hugging it. "I just keep hearing that guy's laugh, like we were a joke." His voice cracked and Ethan's smirk faded. He slid closer, nudging Milo's shoulder. "You're not a joke. Neither of us are. Dad knows that." Milo nodded, but his eyes stayed wet. "I just hate feeling small." But Ethan got it. He felt it too, that twist in his gut when Victor sneered, when the couple chuckled like they weren't worth the air in the room. He'd kept it together for Milo, but inside it burned. "We're not small," he said, voice firm. "Not to Dad, not to Lila, not to anyone who matters." Milo wiped his nose, managing a small smile. "Yeah, Lila was pretty cool." Ethan held up her card. "She's why I'm not done with cars yet. She saw us." Upstairs, Keanu stood by the window, hands clasped behind his back. The sun was gone now, the hillside dark except for a few twinkling lights. He thought about Ethan and Milo. How Ethan always looked out for his brother, how Milo's curiosity lit up a room. They didn't flaunt who they were, didn't need to. But someone had tried to crush that today, and it hit Keanu hard. Not because of his money or his name, but because they were his kid, his family. He remembered a time when he'd been judged too. Years back, before the world knew him. A scruffy guy in a diner, ignored by a waitress who fawned over suits instead. He'd paid his bill, left a big tip, and walked out. No scene, no fuss. But he'd never forgotten how it felt. Now his boys were feeling it, and that was different. That hurt more. Dinner was quiet. The three of them sat at the table, plates of pasta steaming in front of them. Keanu ate slow, like always, his fork moving with purpose. Ethan twirled his noodles, glancing at him. "You're not saying much, Dad." Keanu looked up, his eyes steady. "Don't need to. You said enough." Milo poked at his food. "You're not mad at that Victor guy?" Keanu set his fork down. "Mad's not the word. He showed me who he is." "That's enough." Ethan frowned. "So what happens now?" Keanu leaned back, wiping his mouth with a napkin. "You'll see tomorrow. Just be ready." Milo's eyes widened. "Ready for what?" Keanu's lips twitched, almost a smile. "To go back." The brothers swapped a look. Nervous, curious, hopeful. They didn't push. They trusted him. After dinner, they headed upstairs. Milo paused in the hall, turning to Ethan. "He's gonna do something big, isn't he?" Ethan grinned, real this time. "When doesn't he?" Milo laughed, a little of the weight lifting off him. They split to their rooms, the house settling into silence. Downstairs, Keanu cleaned the table, his movements calm but deliberate. He didn't sleep much that night, his mind on the morning. In the dark, he sat back in his study, the Boat Tail and Swept Tail on his mind. They weren't just cars, they were a lesson. Not for his boys, but for Lux Drive. For Victor, for anyone who thought a t-shirt meant less than a suit. He'd show up tomorrow not to flex, but to fix what got broken. His son's dignity wasn't for sale, and he'd make sure everyone knew it. Ethan and Milo didn't know the details, but they felt it coming. Something big, something right. They fell asleep with that hope flickering, small but steady, like a light left on in the dark. The morning sun crept over Nova Crest, painting the sky gold. Ethan and Milo woke early, their stomachs buzzing with nerves. They pulled on the same combat shorts and white tees from yesterday, no point in pretending to be something they weren't. Downstairs, Keanu waited by the door, his dark gray suit sharp and quiet. He didn't say much, just nodded. "Let's go." The boys grabbed their bikes, but Keanu shook his head. "Not today, we're driving." Their eyes widened. Driving with Dad meant something was up. Outside, two cars waited, monsters of metal and money. The Rolls-Royce Boat Tail gleamed black with silver trim, its long, smooth lines like a yacht on wheels. Next to it, the Rolls-Royce Swept Tail shimmered deep blue, rose gold accents catching the light. Ethan's jaw dropped. Milo whispered, "Holy crap." Keanu adjusted his cufflinks, calm as ever. "Get in the Swept Tail. I'll take the Boat Tail." The boys climbed in, the leather seats swallowing them. Keanu slid into the other car and the engines purred to life. Low, powerful, alive. The drive to Lux Drive was short but heavy. Ethan gripped the armrest, glancing at Milo. "What's he gonna do?" Milo shrugged, eyes on the road. "Something big. You saw his face last night." The dealership came into view, its glass walls glinting. Customers milled around, salespeople hustled. Then the cars rolled up, silent, slow, unstoppable. Heads turned. A guy with sunglasses froze mid-step. A woman spilled her coffee, staring. The Boat Tail and Swept Tail parked side by side. $41 million of pure presence. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Are those real? Who's that?" Keanu stepped out first, his suit cutting a clean line against the black paint. Ethan and Milo followed, their sneakers soft on the pavement. No swagger, no show, just them. The glass doors whooshed open, and they walked in. The showroom went quiet like someone hit mute. Victor stood near a desk, laughing with a coworker. His eyes landed on the boys, then Keanu, and the laugh died in his throat. He straightened his tie, palms sweaty. Welcome back," he stammered, forcing a grin. Keanu didn't smile. He walked to the reception desk, his voice low but firm. "I want the staff member who helped my sons yesterday." The receptionist blinked, flustered. "Yes, sir, one moment." Victor stepped forward, too eager. "That was me, sir, happy to assist." Keanu's gaze cut through him, cold and steady. "No, you didn't help them." Victor faltered, his grin slipping. Ethan and Milo stood behind their dad, heads high now, watching. Elena, the manager, emerged from her office, her heels clicking. She'd seen the cars outside, felt the shift in the air. "Sir, how can I assist you?" Keanu turned to her, calm but unyielding. "Your cameras caught what happened yesterday. I'd like you to pull the footage." Elena nodded, her face tight. "We archive everything. Give me a minute." She disappeared into her office, leaving the room thick with tension. Staff whispered. Customers stared. Victor shifted, his smirk gone, replaced by something nervous. Ethan leaned toward Milo. "He's not messing around." Milo nodded, his freckles stark against his flushed cheeks. "Good. That guy deserves it." They'd felt small yesterday, but now, with Keanu there, they felt seen. Not because of the cars or the money, because of him. Their dad, who didn't need to yell to make a point. Elena returned, her expression pale. "We reviewed it, sir. The staff member who helped your sons was Lila Hart." She glanced at Victor, then away. "And this man, his behavior was unprofessional." Keanu raised an eyebrow. "Unprofessional?" He turned to Victor, his voice like steel. "You laughed at my boys, told them they didn't belong, judged them by their clothes, not who they are." Victor opened his mouth, but nothing came out. His hands shook, tie crooked now. The room held its breath. Keanu stepped closer. Not loud, not angry, just certain. "You don't get it, do you? You mocked them, thinking you're better, but you're the one who doesn't belong here." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Victor's face went red, then white. Elena stepped in, voice clipped. "Victor, you're done. Effective immediately." He didn't argue. He grabbed his jacket, head down, and slunk out. Past the boys he'd dismissed, Ethan watched him go, feeling something lift off his chest. Keanu turned back to Elena. "Bring me Lila." Moments later, Lila walked out, her cream blouse crisp, her eyes confused but warm. She spotted Ethan and Milo and her face softened. "Hey, you two, everything okay?" Keanu smiled. Small, real, more than okay. "You treated my sons right when no one else did, took the time, listened." Lila blushed, shrugging. "They're good kids, asked smart questions. It was easy." Keanu pointed to the Hyperion. "They liked that one." The room went still again. "I'm buying it, fully loaded. Every feature they mentioned. Make it $3 million, $100,000, and the full commission goes to you." Lila's eyes widened. "Sir, I don't know what to say." He pulled out a pen, signing the paperwork right there on the counter. where Victor had laughed yesterday. You don't have to say anything. You earned it. But the air shifted again. Elena cleared her throat, uneasy. Sir, there's a problem. The Hyperion's already reserved. A client put a deposit down last night. Keanu paused, pen hovering. The crowd murmured. Ethan's heart sank. Milo's too. They'd come this far, and now this? Keanu set the pen down, turning to Elena. Who's the client? She hesitated. A regular, big spender. He's on his way now. Minutes later, a man stormed in, tall, loud, dripping in a gold watch and a tailored coat. What's this? He barked, eyeing Keanu. That's my car. I paid for it. Keanu stayed calm, hands in his pockets. My sons want it. They were here first. The man laughed, sharp and mean. Money talks, pal. I've got more of it. He waved a hand at Ethan and Milo. These kids? They're playing dress-up. Milo flinched, the old sting back. Ethan stepped forward, voice steady. We're not playing. We just like the car, the man sneered. Cute. Step aside, Junior. Keanu's eyes darkened, but he didn't move. You don't know my sons. Or me, the man scoffed. I don't need to. I've got the deposit. Deal's done. Elena fidgeted. He's right, sir. Legally, it's his. Keanu nodded slowly, then turned to the boys. You still want it? Ethan and Milo nodded, firm. He faced the man again. Name your price. The guy grinned, greedy. $5 million, cash, right now. Gasps echoed. Lila whispered, That's insane. Keanu didn't blink. Done. He pulled out his phone, made a call. Transfer $5 million to Lux Drive, now. The man's grin faltered, unsure if he'd won or lost. The transfer cleared in seconds. Alina's tablet pinged. It's confirmed. The man stared, deflated. Keanu took the keys from her, handing them to Ethan. Happy early birthday. Ethan's hands shook as he took them. Milo grinned, tears prickling. The crowd was silent, stunned. The man huffed, storming out, his coat flapping. He'd gotten his money, but he'd lost the room. Keanu looked at Lila. Commission still yours, 3.1. She nodded, speechless. He turned to Elena. Next time, watch who you let judge people. She swallowed, nodding. The boys stood taller, the weight of yesterday gone. They'd faced the jerk, the rich guy, the whole mess, and won. Not with fists or yells, but with their dad's quiet strength. It wasn't what anyone expected, but it was right. The Hyperion's engine hummed as Keanu drove it away from Lux Drive. Ethan and Milo in the back, the boat tail and swept tail trailing behind with hired drivers. The boys pressed their faces to the windows, watching the dealership fade. Ethan clutched the keys, his heart still racing. Milo wiped his eyes, grinning. We got it, Ethan. We actually got it. Keanu glanced at them in the rearview mirror, his voice soft. You deserved it. Not just the car, everything. They nodded, feeling it deep down. Inside the dealership, silence hung heavy. Staff stood frozen, phones limp in their hands. The couple who'd laughed yesterday stared at the floor, cheeks red. The junior salesman rubbed his neck, quiet for once. Elena leaned against her office door, arms crossed, replaying Keanu's words. She'd let Victor slide too long. Lesson learned. Lila slipped the commission paperwork into her bag, her steps light. She'd stood up for the boys when it mattered, and now she'd never forget it. Kindness paid off, not just in cash, but in something bigger. Ethan broke the silence in the car. Dad, why'd you pay that guy? $5 million's crazy. Keanu kept his eyes on the road. Wasn't about the money, it was about you two. He thought he could push you around. I showed him he can't. Milo frowned. But he still got rich off it. Keanu's lips twitched. He got cash, we got justice. Which lasts longer? Milo thought about it, then nodded. Yeah, I get it. They pulled into their driveway, the Hyperion gleaming beside the Rolls-Royces. Ethan hopped out, running his hand along its side. I can't believe it's ours. Milo joined him, quieter now. Thanks, Dad, for all of it. Keanu stepped out, hands in his pockets. You don't thank me for this. You're my sons. I've got your back, always. His voice was steady, but his eyes softened. And that hit them harder than the cars ever could. Back at Lux Drive, the mood shifted. A customer asked for Lila by name, her first big sale as senior consultant. The empty desk where Victor once sat stayed bare, a silent warning. People whispered about the boys in sneakers, the dad in the suit, the lesson nobody saw coming. It wasn't about wealth, it was about worth. Judging fast could cost you, and kindness could lift you up. The story spread beyond the glass walls, a ripple of truth in a world quick to assume. Ethan and Milo sat on the porch that night, the Hyperion parked in view. Milo looked at Ethan. "We're not invisible anymore, huh?" Ethan smiled. "Never were, just took the right people to see it." They leaned back, the stars bright above. Justice didn't roar, it rolled, in quiet, steady, and left everything changed. I think this story hits home because we've all felt judged at some point, maybe not by a smug salesman, but by someone who didn't see our worth. It's satisfying to watch Ethan and Milo rise above it, with Keanu showing that real power isn't loud or flashy, it's steady and true. Some might say the rich guy winning cash muddies the justice, but I see it as proof that dignity trumps dollars every time. What about you? Does this ending feel right, or would you have handled it differently? I'd love to hear your take. Drop it in the comments, rate the story 1 to 10, and tell me where you're watching from. Huge thanks for sticking with us. If you vibed with this, hit subscribe and join the crew. We've got more stories coming to spark your thoughts.